Jancho bardo dane chapsoche dage chejuro gebe tsonamge dola penje sanje do baraisho chodan tsoge chonam la jancho bardo dane chapsoche dage chejuro gebe tsonamge dola penje sanje do baraisho Chodan tsoge chonam la jancho bardo dane chapsuche dage chejre gebe tsonam ki dola penche sanje do barai sho.
Semje tamje torzalana me yada bazobe saji konvora bajine ge tobash. Tishi de tambe che senya be gunu chonju semje ma tunje se da me se bashu.
For the welfare of all the mother sentient beings, may I able to generate the highest motivation, and with this motivation that I want to receive this precious dharma, so please generate the highest motivation. So allow me to read the couple of pages as an oral transmission from volume number 3, page roughly around 96, part 3, I think, the first matter.
Subache barade de lamude de balani shiraj na baba jenje lamude be monde shine to go barade wado shine no wado de wado shabada jawashi so tawon seizu riboye go ne shiraj na baje lo gombe go bane monde shine ngarashi wato go shi good Duraje de ne pilshine peware de doyi mushine bote toboshi ngarashi be simguba Shinzo de wato di de de peware de ne go yido so be de simgu gubani so de yishi modo be bodni Yila shibele tobo yila yishe to ne nyamu yungwan dwe se yesu ribo yeshu go ne nyamu nambar ju Mele tobo sung be se su ribo ye ba gombe gombe ngonde yishe to Ngonde yishe to ba yinde nye sale tela yila shibele tobo zishe de shawanyi 제대로 일하시오 못해서 제제원이도 머리가 받아도 레도 보이는데 유모 넘버를 좀 레도 보니 일하시오 또 유모 넘어서 좀 쉐비 생소리베 일하시오 거의 벌어 좀 해. 벌어 콤벌어 거의 버티베시소 너제 니시비 고려요 이시 돈이 지대보 돈지는데 샤르이라 고바 소소 거르셰베 시니고데 조네 테니지 딜레 지데보 지데데 라도모드 유머주데 히데 제바 셰바데 모비베데 제셰 나우소 영소 모종이 모지 조고보보 可拉可巴的可巴。可来开吧，将被空门能接将在这被现在我这个做，天天又被做的少啊，毛多那我天哪，你说呢？些我的了不是么些呢？忙人上代的孙伟杰、老杰、老杰马学呢，上代的问你多，老的了，一周些我呢多么。陈色这把一些牛多一点，生多么的节。叫那陈色这把一些那样的，这把叫就是我在这送那心里面的这心里嘛都把个上面头也都见你多哟，见上面了的你多的嘛都那心里面的不是那么陈色这把一些。一把结婚一百天光百些年，我这不都啥的，这我们那边叫做，我这乡下我一农场把大人，我这山我一农这样把大人的在这我都现在新疆没了，新疆他嘛都能现在忙着我这工作老少，把里边准备些这你都当不么都能现在没都不听了。你到当不一些这个什么呢？你这就好多公吧，我们国人就你到当不当就他妈那么一点。第一个呢，你在现在这我们说你到当不就别定个这个定个字。毛泽东给我定义的当就这就不可能因为胸小呢，你们写不到的呢。劳动大学给现在他把要现在用弄我现在来的，你们对我来说我这我是不是呢？我是不现在少都没到不老是不晓得不能对不对？咱们些恐怕是现在个劳动呢，看劳动呢，看样没功能。对吧？可能就你们我就样这些我把他们那你们不少我等细节这个不大姐妹提些人的把里面的小伙子这上头他们也到头的，你到他把人的把那的心里的老的那个劳动我不少。我那个现在长了，光把这些那你们不就把我那个写不都写的每个月写每个了没写呢？就没对不对？都让我一点点写对不？劳动现在就讲的对，我都写了，对呢，劳动你对呢，那个劳动你给我这个也多。头不对吧？一年也现在讲的是说小周这劳动的劳用电不也那么些到现在也那么些人就差不多这就注意。那个那么起码美国那个小周就是多么也弄的老电的老电的。当没见到中山美为些什么都学的我当没到的这不你好你我嘛有都地，那么现在就光把你们不那年色里面的老的这边都晓得车或者就是上去做不进，那就把离了修，能把这些里边的这就是说头不对不对，叫我看现在没有城市的不一些。日本的没办法，连小娃子也不得搞，对吧？都叫伊拉小娃都叫他都不叫他的问题，为什都写，送不到肉都得了，他们呢，对吧？那小娃子这你们我去老小辈推一些，因为这啥？俺们州里有些那我看这大没同过呢。你们帮没些那现在些的了，或者地方官的，你们帮一些那的了，那么的，对吧？可就你们就话先阳们先帮忙讲，对吧？那小娃子这话先把先送别做对象，你不过呢，帮人弄这样对象呢，这是对别。 Yundela, Disha Shavaye, Tian, Doyong, Gotamani, Miss Sunday, the Java Day, in the Nation to show. So good to come share the Livia the Georgia, they own the Joe, the Sunday double in Bunny, and Digi, Yon de Sinja, Malo, but also the river things. Nibate Bugo, your young division, a job, no John, dear, no thing, Joel, 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 Shadakova, she young. Numubo in the laga, Minaka, Shundo, Nezo, Java, no, Dilla, Nimichi, the Go, Numubo, many, Hila, Nigo Gumbi. When Bogo and then move on them, never the no, no, Sakwogi. You saucer Javis in Yero, the river, Ringo Tovado, Ringo, some Jew, Ringo, Tivado, Ringo, some to some remote. Teta kumbe tu zule de ne go be na bo ta che du shi re je to de lo mo ba shi ba ne mo le yi shi wa go yi shi no de re ni sa che ma di lo me me shi ni da lo dong gong ba ra shi do ye so yi yi shi do be go so yi go shi la gong ba so na wo yi shi dong be go so tong lo so be shi do lo me ba ra so ba de高兴的劳动的联盟不送别的到没别到过没有，劳动的那个老天那么一些的那就告诉我写了你受过呢，你没办一笔。第二个这那个现在说是写了说是这到底了有养到养的这玩意。劳动过嘛也老杨这帮别他这现在一头的这就是叫我呢，现在过吧，这都过米线一把，这都过米线一把的，汤不呢，孙子别人不，这都是现在你。人们是搞了的，这边你们宣布结婚，宣布你们结婚的那里，一般一些这跳舞，他这人我都需要的，就是他，就是你现在到你呢，可是现在你几点làm住的，可是当面到别làm住，几点对吧？几点对吧？làm住的你有些地方的，那。Dame to ba shin san de ta bu ni ye to ile shi to ni tel dame go ni ni ma thwe no ge ji or ske den do sa sta ta di su ba che ba di de la ju se di ta di de dame ma do shin ni hira na ba che ni de ba kyo de kham khoma le yon de ta ni gum ju tel se or da tel te ba ni se hira na ba ye lam de be ngun de shin to go ba te ba ta shin de de ne de ba sha ba de jo chi chu lo我这里现在阿里现在那不是他们跟我来年的现在嘛了呢，现在都真的劳动着过，劳动们那这边你我有帮那个嘛了吧？现在这些这里开始呢，这有年了呀，你工资的你现在那不是老着呗，我就是，以前不是现在人掏过吧？现在掏这了的那都在做，就是现在掏呢。一劳动者，那现在家到这样，我就做了，我得做这些活的。
Okay, Geshe read this oral transmission from page 93 to the first paragraph of page 100. So last time we were on the topic of serenity, which is like even the worldly, in order to overcome the worldly concern, or also like before, like the true practice of serenity, there's no way to overcome. And then, of course, in that, like we have covered up about like with the help of serenity, shamatha and vipassana, that and like how that we can engage into the the Wali practice and also trans-Wali practice. And then as the true practitioner or the Buddhist, they without understanding and realizing through the selflessness of a person, there's no way to achieve to overcome these. So that's why to understand first with with serenity and insight, then you practice the selflessness of a person, then only then you can be able to overcome from the samsara. So on top of it, then we also has to understand that in order to practice truly about, then you have to find the unfortunate opportunity if you follow the mundane practice, and then if you follow the higher practice, there's the qualities and benefit of those higher rebirths. So you find the faults of the mundane serenity and insight, and then you find the qualities of the super mundane, the serenity inside in higher rebirth. So that's why in this, to practice or achieve that serenity and insight, without going through the process of achieving the coarseness and the calmness, there's no way to achieve. So by going through achieving through coarseness and calmness, then one can be able to achieve the serenity and insight. So that's why without practicing and through this serenity and insight, there's no way to overcome anything or achieve.
어디 다 담보 신스 리그바이 신스 소 리그에 고니 시라이 남바 되게 라고바네 곰베 네 온두 신행을 못하고 신행을 해봐 되토바시 고데 노데제네 디에데네 펠제네 표와릉도 좋아이 무시네바 되토보 신행을 해비 심고바 신서저 토디 디딩인진데 뼈를 때네 무시도바 송베 쇼로 데 심고바네 송디 이시 모두 버디 니 일시빌레 통고 인라 이시 토는 이문 용안 되베 생이스 리바이시 고바니 이문 넘버 중에 세레 통고 송베 생이스 리바 곰베 몬디스 이시 몬디스 몬디스 이시 토고디 토바인데 년살에 들 일시빌레 통보다 제지부 셔니라 세드 일시와 모두진 세지지와 세지바jel라 마리가 파디네 레탕보이노 들 레다오일라 들 니모 넘버 조안네 레탕보와 네 일시베 토바니 니모나레 심조안데비 세이소 리바 일시와 코인벌 상신 lemba kombe khain ba de she song so se ta khanje khada ji de se warda sin su ri ba shirai na ba je se na dire da khanje debe ya doyong nga yi che da khare debe ya ine doyong shakba til ene nyembo si woro ho de se ho su re re jo de ja re yo wa ho de se wore karsa comme mundi hene tane ti ben karsa sim goban sonde di karsa pardi yilasi le tambo inla sti ta yilasi le tambo asena ti yiji dyu na shi yiji dyu se rimba dyu sha ro di na yilasi le tambo asya di hine tomata be ene semde le yilasi le tambo asya ro inla 이시 돕는 유무 좋은 데베스 생수 리바이저 공네 뉴먼의 종의 레동고 for 송베 생수 리바 공부 공디 이시 토바 인데 년살에 들 이시 레동보 제주도 샤니를 시시디 일을 샤 모도지 심제제 원일 머르기 버드는 레동보 인노 다 일시와 내 당보 있어 세야디 이제 당보대 그래서는 디스워드 근데 심지 집에서 머리가 빠졌어도 들어와 니도 디베 심 토마교네 어디시 그래서 생수를 이거 좀 맞아 냥도 추바미 좋스 제 생수를 봐 이제야 돼 니바데 다 근데 일시와 내 당보 써야 돼 그래서 당보 들어와现在一些猎头我现在我都不得生意日本一些头嘛的是，但生意日本一些的这类感觉，日本都用啊，的那一些了吃巴当，像那这了店的东西的，那没得别还是用过的，那种个但是日本看那个东西有多做的，看这熊儿是我都用啊吃巴店，这店的熊儿的是我说，现在这了种的店呢，但看工业。소수미 타자네 다다 동영원요 될 소아 동영원요 될잖아요 말이야. 진짜 소수미를 해왔다니. 네발 쫑다니. 근데 되게 사동 주야 거도 가는 쪽에서는 이 생수 리바 이제서야 되다. 이제 뉴스는 이제 이바지. 근데 현에는 사동 주고 그랬어. 다 되는 사동도 저네 뒤줄 데려 뭐가 이제서야지. 뭐가 이제서야 더 뒤뒤서는 더 데토월 학동도월 학동을 이제 담에도 학동이 그 말로 와서 학동도 hilal 신의를 학동 쳐봐 가서 해서는 유지 쳐봐 말로 로이고 공동 쳐봐 아니 조야 조금을 더 넣어야 토고가 될 신이스 조 리베 제바 시도 토고가 될 학동세 되게 샤르모도 고민 내가 뭐 금지 쳐봐 샤르모도 이제 아니 유리야 학동을 담에 이제 거다 현대를 군도 이제 되게 쳐봐야 말이지 곰당 쳐봤는데 인자 어디레스도 다다데 리베제바 시도게니 디 제바 당부 컨디시고서는 생수 리바 이제서야 지워 다디 제공으로 제공주도 유전 상호동으로 유전 상호동에는 더발이야 수레저를 잘소 참이 쫑될 때는 얘는 동에 가서 용도 같대 믿음으로 가서 용도 가진 대회 가다 가서 그게 다다 동영원 좋아 나산저 다 같이 강다 이제 강도다 무슨 도야 들이 리죠 지겔 상도동 얘는 감 권해야 되는 동에다 매서 되어터로 제다다 동에면도 되어터고 여다 다디 로고도 산 얘는 감 권해야 제야 상도다네 इन देवल क्यों दा खम को योंदे ताने इन तिदे गोमसिद अने खंदो ने ति सेइसु रिवाइस से आदि तिरे लागदों थोमा गोंगो ला ता तिने मोबा इसे से आजिरो अति का लागदों थोबो दा 어디 लागदों थोबो
So here about like to practice, to cultivate the path to achieve the serenity and insight, then there's a process like this 7 different kind of attention that one has to go through. So out of this, the first one that to engage into the practice and to cultivate is like the discernment of characteristic. So that means you are checking every the topic of the practice that you're doing, and then with the help of this also with the help of calmness and coarseness, then that one can be able to engage into discernment of characteristic. And then with these, why that on this in the first one that one has to engage this one is to see that in this the discernment of characteristic that normally like when we are like always has a attachment and desire to our sensory objects, sensory objects like all the 5 sensory objects, and with these that we are attached to and then have desire or attachment or all kind of afflictions. So with these, by analyzing each characteristic, and then when we find that in this sensory object, like whatever you experience about sufferings or sickness or all the problem and all this, then you see the false that, oh, these are the things that you experience because of the sensory, the desire to the sensory objects, and we are attached to it, and that is that's how that we are attached to it. So we see all the faults of the mundane uh, uh, practice or sensory desire, and then finally that if I and then when you see the quality of the higher rebirth, where there's no such kind of sufferings, no such kind of sickness, no kind of such kind of attachment and desire, so you see the quality, good quality in the higher realm. So that's why the first they start with the help of calmness and coarseness, engage into discernment of characteristic. And the moment that when they're practicing, they engage into the second part, which is the we call when they achieve the serenity, and this one with the help of single pointedly, like they practice, and also like number two is, let me see what's this. It's I can't find. So, which is the arisal from belief. So, this is the second part. Like the moment after, like you are in this first step on discernment of the characteristic, when you achieve, then the moment you achieve insight, then you are stepping to the second part, which is the arisal of belief, and then from there, like then you. And then when you really get into the insight, then insight is not something that you go from one house to another house or one place to another. It's a mental process, like you realize in the mental state of meditation, single pointed meditation, that from there like you rise higher. So that's why in order to practice, firstly you have to check, analyze the first part, like all the discernment of all the characteristics with the help of calmness and coarseness, and then finding the faults of all the sensory objects and desires, and then finding the faults, and then looking at the quality of the higher state where there's no suffering, no desire. So then you try to aim for the higher realization.
我这时候看到你出去了，我这时候他情况差不多的出来多，我的情况差不多工作，这点现在到些，你现在我呢，头就拉动头下呢，我就是呢，其他你别个忙着呀，小忙着先留了，我这时候的，现在，你现在我呢，找了，你，可是情况差不多这呢，你这女生欣赏的话，都可是欣赏辛苦了，这都我是这呢，你这些现在。其实你做有些我做过的事，你做同步的为定义在毛多空定义在当中，甚至就不可能一个事。你做一些话的马拉巴的那，甚至就把明明那种做么的现在没的事，因为乡下那些话的对劳动大学现在他们现在用啊那我是，我觉得年少了说呗。ene sende shonzu hinila hila duzu tagi nasi gore. Lakdo tagi tata dizi kazo ene chiwan chamu gondri dizi lakdo tasho ene hine zanya toyo ma resi. Toyo ma de da pyo ngama mambu chiga dizi zan lakdo to resi. Lago resi. Osha di sheda ene hine toba ya shedu nyuwa nang os. Tede sonza ene hine gomzu lumo ne. hine gumzi yabu maje na hine tog marwa sheda tima da hine to ba hine yunga na osi ko da hine rujju ha mo na hine tog marwa
So
hine la tene devar de za choshi ve tsune ngar hive hine sewa dang medala so be chever to ma da ba tsan shi kombar shene shene la don ni kan maguna 대박하니 니무 문제와 양 레지 고바 미네는 니무 사원 저다 히드폰 다지 무스 어디서 다지 비 다다 히네마나 애니 니모 사원바 신이 운주 왔잖아 방토고 말이 가서 니모 운주 와 방토고 말이 세상에 신이 도고레스 세다들 신이 도 신라가 사tum로다 하모고신 어디니 촉도 와 어디시다 어디까지 학동토벌이 신이 운주 그레스 다 디조 가지기 가는 데서 그런 싸워주신 학동스디 지다를 비과듯이 아니 신의들 신임이 것이 유지고는 샤워서 샤워다 어디 유지고는 샤워 말봐 곰주고는 샤워를 가지 조금이고는 엔피게 신의는 조금 주신 토고야지다 학동에는 조금 주신 토고야지 뭐든지 유지고는 애니 건조 셜미 신의 학동이가요 들어가는 이 इन तो इनने भी हिने लागोनी का योर वाशी तो ये गोन जे तो मारे सकता
So that's why, like, because of like not knowing that how to practice the properly, most of the practitioner like ignorantly that when they enter into the single point of meditation, when they enter into the subtle laxity, and that subtle laxity, they believe that this is the true serenity or the insight. Insight. That's why there's some kind of like the mistaken practice, because when they enter into the subtlest laxity, then they feel that there's kind of some kind of calmness and coarseness, but it's not really one. But so that time, like they are mistaken that they believe that they have already achieved insight. So this is the reason that even in the Tibetan, many practitioners also like they enter into this subtle laxity and then believing that they have already achieved the insight. So right now, forget about like achieving the insight. They didn't even know how to practice properly about the serenity. So there's no way to achieve the insight. So that's why there's some they not knowing clearly about how to practice serenity and insight. So this is the main reason that before we achieve the insight, first of all, that must practice serenity, and then from serenity, then you go for achieving the insight. Now, these two difference between the insight and serenity is the analytical meditation is normally for insight. Like if you want to achieve insight, you analyze like it's like discernment of characteristic. You analyze the object of meditations and you check and then you reach the point. But main serenity means post meditation. You are focusing into the object of meditation without analyzing, post meditation and staying there and then try to achieve. So, so without going through that way, there's no way to achieve the serenity or insight. So that's why always has to first and then to go through this process, and then also like as the insight the insight, when you achieve the insight, it doesn't mean that it's a process of level or here and there or one place to another. It's a mental process, like you go through your mental process of realizations. So that's why like it's not from the object or area that will count. It's only in the mental state of realizations. So that's how that if you want to practice, you have to go through.
this 제도 다다 띵엘이야 선도도 민요도 일시와 레탐보서야 또 뒤뒤 신이 또 이제 뒤니 생수를 리바이지해야 돼. 현의 공부를 뭐지? 다음부터도 생수를 리바이지해 또 말해. 생수를 리바이지해야 돼. 학동 공부 고도야 되로. 어디서 뒤추고 말이 대신에 에네 대다수는 힘이 메데디. 이제 힘이 맞다 산도도 민요도 계산해라. Nieto de tonen hine mede nieto de modone hine mede be shedo. Tsinsu riba ije riba jego imbi. Tigo be hine ngar mado sa riba mini be shero was. Sheda tanda hine de stambo dudi kare. Jogong zu shin jogu warwa. Tsinsu riba ije sede jego zu shi warwa. Sheda tsinsu riba ije de gwane ene hine riba yamar ko jego zu shi war. Ti ngel ya hine tal ene tada sensu riba ise na dong gong go ro gong go zu za she da ti ko ji gu zu shi go ye za ene di hine kar sa dis to mar se sa ti to go ne hine to ya mar ti ne hine ne to sim bo go re se wa ta kan ji.
So that's why, like to now, when you really put that practice into your practice, then to achieve the actual serenity, insight, uh, only first of all that you have to go through achieving. We call the access to the first concentration ground. So that means like you are not actually achieving, you are accessing, like entering to the first concentration ground, and only with these that one can be able to enter into to achieve the actual the first concentration ground. And without going through that, there's no way to achieve the actual the concentration ground. And then as this one, so as we have explained that in the serenity, if you like practicing serenity, you are like a single pointedly concentrating in the object, and then to achieve the serenity. And then the for insight is like you are like discernment of characteristic. You are checking and analyzing the topic of the meditations, and to achieve the insight. So with these, then you have to first achieve the access to first concentration ground, and then eventually you achieve the actual concentration ground or first.
Mo de ma ngar sai ngu ji long chang ba ta de be zai ji ba xin ji jang xin sha me le xin sha ma do na xin ni men zhe ba gong zhe la so ba le sung bi shi ni do tong bu ma do na xin ni me do bo de za sai ngu ji sung ba ta ene de be zai ji ba se de sum zai ji ba gu ba se sim ni gu ba de ye ro sim ni gu ba de xin sha me ne ene de le xin ni me do ba de ene gong zhe da 가가 중문부 송샤스 시행년이야 이니 니도 일시와 레상보스 이지부 토부레스 미도버 되는 니도 당부 이지 저그 토마니 니도 이데베 학동급은 거인지스 어디서 되는 니도 가서 니도 당부 모도니 미도보 되는 니도 당부 이지 주 니도 당부 써야 되래. 일시바 레 당부가 써야 되와. 어디 이제 다 지켜오로 이제 조세 다 신수다다 일시바 레 당부가 써 지켜 인생스를 봐야지 뭐야지 에네 라디 에바지 가와디 봐야지 제바야지 좋아타야지 좋아타도 이제 누이 당부 어디 누이나 니도 당부 이 이제 저거는 니도 이제비 하고 그건 거인지스 니도 니도 당부자는 좀 이제 도모 많이 됐어 어딜 하고 거야 그거 일에서 레 당부해야 돼 금디잖아 근데 하고 거면 고투도 돼서 그러면도 이제 되도잖아 아니 가서 신의사도 더 말이 신행인 톱사레스 대고는 여도 되게 신경 조급에 소스 어디래 다 거기 신라인도다 거기 다 상할라면 쇼는 지금 메시지 요소면 신경 신에다 되네 에네 학동 조고야 돼 에네 다 찍바래 건가다 거기 믿음을 지어요 말이 거기 개발수 개발 찍바래 어쨌든 에네 신에 더 그랬어 여도 너무 되게 땡인지 Mato na tingin zi tam ji dusu tse chi bo khona yin bi se. Xiong xia ne xiba da tin lao dong ji da xiong xia ne ji dong de tin lao dong da xue xin ni xin ni ta wan xin de nyong no xie. Xin ni le ten ni de ba cha de chu de ngar xi be xin ni so. Tire da ane da xin ni zang tire shakwa che do men en lao dong kan de che ge shen zi se wa da. Chu de ngar xi be xin ni so wa de me do la sa be chebar sum den chebar tomadan den ba te zam hi ko ba xi ne lao dong ni kan ma gum na se lao dong ni ti ing ge da jigdebe debe lao dong da jigdebe lao dong se wa da jigdebe lao dong se hira nam je gum ya de wa jigdebe lao dong de dang mi gum ya se ni kan lao dong ni kan ma gum na o da lao dong zan ma gum na debe ni mo ne te re se wa da en sa gong da de ba bo shen da nyung zhe xi de ba pa shu debe ni mo ra ba zang ba to ma ri se现在已经没去劳动做过的事。提起对把了下巴的职位，上对当不托把人对呗，对那你对那心里了，心里得了点劳动过不少不是。现在俺的心里做，俺劳动工作么都是虽然对不头呀的，这咱的要嘛的，现在底片头嘛的时候，才感觉。
So, um, even when you achieve practicing through the level of the to achieve the serenity, and when you reach the ninth level, even when you reach the ninth level without achieving through the mental and physical pliancy, there's one won't be able to achieve the ninth level, which is the main serenity. So that's why, and then also without having mental and physical, achieving mental and physical pliancy, that even that you have the access to the first concentration ground or just achieve also, but haven't achieved the main, the true insight. So, so this one, as in common Buddhist practice, is all same. Like the process has to go through this 9 level of the mental level of practicing the serenity, and then with the help of then achieving the mental and physical pliancy, then you achieve the true the insight. So the moment you achieve, then you are firstly access to the first concentration ground. So, and then it's common to all, but except there's exceptional in the tantra practice is not needed like that. So you don't have to go through this level, and there's a special consideration on tantra practice. Otherwise, in all practice, you have to practice, and then practice first the serenity, and then followed by serenity, you have to practice insight. And so, without having this proper practice, firstly practicing serenity, and then after that insight, even that you may be engaging into practice for overcoming the worldly concern or the trans-worldly concern also, if you don't know the process, then forget about overcoming the worldly concern also, trans-worldly concern also. You can't be able to overcome even the worldly, the sufferings and all these things also. So, so this is the reason that those as a beginners, firstly must achieve the serenity, then insight, and with the help of that serenity and union of serenity and insight, then can be able to overcome the overcome the worldly and worldly concern and worldly sufferings or trans-worldly. But there are those who are not the beginner. There are who practitioner who has achieved the insight before serenity also. So that's why has to differentiate that. But as a beginners, the firstly has to first achieve the serenity and then followed by then insight.
어디 오는 거 신의 좀 공부하셔야 유무문조 ngono ba shewa da shida menge she na sikyo me de de nga yi de lam la dong hin yi kong de bi on de she le de la dong ni de ne la dong ni ke ngono do yi nyu do tong bu de bi hin yi jang chi bi she ros ini sa ye jang de hin de ne ka ji ne hin de ne in de ya ji de de ba de ji de be lam ka 통이가 좋다고 그랬지. 지들 대발람 담에 공부하시는데 애는 타바 타지셔 토리스. 인 대대 바지우시데 애는 담에 또 먹으시데 신이 되네. 애는 해다 싫어도 가지시는 될 때네 애는 유몽은 좋은 거는 그래 세로 하시다. 다른데 애는 신이게 유몽은 좋은 거는 누구 말쓰기도 하디 가래서는 이때 좀 말했어. 공도 해야 돼. 지대벨 학동의 신내나 뒤에 거의 초저는 지대벨 학동의 희라 소소 맞아야 돼. 거의 수쇼지 뒤에 에네 니몽은 요 거는 그래서 뭐 지대벨 신내 상지 거는 거 세요 말이지. 다른 디컬 그래서는 희라니 소소지야 값선자 인디다다 신내 군에서 신내 학동 개발지에서 사동샤를 시워버리. 그래서 공도 해야 되는데 인가요 말해서 봐다 관계.
So here, it says that by achieving the true serenity, it helps us to overcome overcome the selflessness of a person, and if it is and then also it also helps us to overcome the mental afflictions of the as a gross mental afflictions. And so at the earlier it was explained that why then that it says that by practicing serenity and insight that one can be able to overcome all the afflictions and can be able to overcome from the cyclic existence of samsara or the liberate and then also to achieve the selflessness of a person. Then it says it doesn't matter because here the reason why it explained is when you practice in a worldly serenity, that will help us to overcome the gross mental afflictions in this worldly concern. And then if you are practicing the true Dharma practice, Buddhist practice, then it helps us to understand and achieve this selflessness of a person. So there's no contradiction in between.
What did you? The chakra do not go to the bed number gender, Hira number J, E. Shower she was true. Neeless, she had the chakra to the any Damet of a lamb, then any shit of Gagaponia, Sakun 6. That even Hira number J. Citizen, Deval Jona, Home your dead and Lakon Ni or is. 다른 디시아 가르치고서 치마디 담에다 버시오 말이 뉴문조를 지금 거는 돈달이야 거니 샤리시도 또 많이 놓으세 다시야 디인세 데라텐니세 담에다 중세자 메비 싫어봐도 디 공개도 쓰고다 희니 공개도 가르친다 담에 계자다 메비 싫어봐도 좋게 먹어 추들라 다음에 따와 다데바 이게 고마 요도스 다데 디디 다데 고야디 시거레 지디는 랑 고야들이야 시르베 고야제다 낭바이나 알레야 데도 통디냐니 공기니요 미로와 딜 람시 신자시 고미 뉴무 보니 년살에 되라 되베되다 저시 rab도 저바이 년저바니 이르셔 넘버 듄 되베되셔 저 통고 되보다 강신나 세다디레 이제 듄세야 되다 강신나 매와 생수를 바이지 다 당보데 당보 라동 주야 고주야 디시 뭐바 이제세다 라동 통모 토거다 지대만 라동 통모 토야들 뭐바 이제 제바디라와 다 되네 미소하다 rab디 엠바 당스 rab디 엠바 이제세야 될 다디세오레 두요들이야 체중 구시오로 동보신 동보야 체중 송숨세 들라 셰부셰부 정정정정셰부 정스 구시에다 어디 rab디 엠바이 이제 엠바다스 rab디 엠바이 이제세 두요 셰부 스코르손도 방게다 rab디 엠바이 이제세 다 히니 지디면 랑지 방서 방은 거 되는도 가 디바이시 세야디 도요 딩코스 바데 가 디바이시 세거다 다 지바이시 세야디 디거다 도요 주가방산에 다 rak바다 에네 베가 데얼 비시 샤과 제에서 시는 수수시나 다 데발 샤과 제사가 상승로 나온 중거리시 제데 나온 중은 다 데발 고데 샤과 제아요 뭐 다시다니 에네 라드 지바이시 세야디 가서 가르치어서는 엔비가 샤그유스 배 소제와 다니면 소 가지 율 이동할 매 샤바지게 되어 소소 딱제시 엔 딱제시도 장에 에네 딱제신게 될 가르스는 쥐어바이시 세워다 다코 딱제시도 장에 누구세마 일시도 딱제시어도 장 에네 다도 샤바 참모 되어야 하고네 용절 공부 용절 뒤니부 공부 쥐어바이시 조타이시 세워 조타이시 어떻게 다 너희 중국중국이 라바 중국중국도 방어 저거와 되네 조타디 이제서야 되거든 이는 너희 그바 방배 제대로 나오려면 세 도고 가시다 뇌발 차디 제로다 어떻게 벌써가 돼야 말이 시다디 다다 독스 도도도도 되네야 뭐바이 내도 세유를 바이시 세대 타고 하도 주야 제바 신게체 다디 제바실 하도 곰고도 뭐가 있으세요? 하도 톰게디시. 다 하도 톰이 현의 것다 누요로 마드만 등야 샤이 된 거로. 어디 땡다 땡치 제어다 라디 에바이시 통보 방거들 에바이시. 다디 니바들 조준 링고서 방거들 가 디바이시. 다디 제바이시 셀 방자메 고 제바 신게들어. 다 조타이 조타이지 세야디 있는 도유 숭우 거선도 방자 고니세데 에네 조타도 비디비지 세야디 또 티드단 디코다 삼데 다 우고시 타와다 인 도유 도발 샤와 쳐와세 어디 다시 도발 샤데 히네 티디시워 지시오다 다토 타토 비디비지 세와 오서 디다 이지 디사데 데르다
So, to overcome desire, so desire or afflictions, of course, the serenity and insight that one must engage into your practice, and then right now, most of the practitioner, not knowing how to distinguish between mostly the non-Buddhists, they don't even have the slightest understanding of the selflessness. So that's why there's no way to overcome and achieve liberations. And then mostly they they only try to they overcome the subtle or the afflictions. So they only striving harder to overcome the subtle afflictions, and then so now in order to achieve this there are seven the attentions that has been involved in order to free from our desire realm. So if we really want to overcome from our the desire realm, then there are the seven attention that we have to go through this process. So out of this, the first one is the discernment of characteristic. So so in that, like firstly, like thoroughly and analyzing in each object of meditations, and then like you are engaging to achieve the insight, and then so the moment you reach the second level is the arisal and belief, which is the moment that you achieve the insight when you in the process of arisal and belief, then you achieve insight, and then on the third isolations, and this in this third level of attention, and when you reach isolation part is divided into three nine level, which is the coarser level, medium level, and smallest level. And coarser level has three parts, medium level has three parts, and then smallest level has a three part. So you go through that each and every process to overcome and then achieve the insight. So so that's why like you go through this nine level. So from there, and then the moment you go through that, and then when you reach the delight and withdrawal. So number four. So when you are in the process of delight and withdrawal, so that time like some most of the practitioner practicing on inside believe that because when they have some kind of calmness, entry into the like subtle mental laxity and believing that they have achieved the insight, so that time you are constantly checking there and then seeing that to whom that you are really delighted with or something. So mostly like when you check, then it seems that our sensory desire towards the desired object is more delightful or something like the that so more towards the desire, sensory desire. So that's why from there like you try to retreat back and then try to push further deeper in order to process more deeper. So that's why the number fifth is you analyze then whether it is like if you have that kind of desire is arise, how we can overcome. If you don't have desire, how it doesn't afflict. So that's how that you number fifth it help to analyze in order to practice insight. And then number six is the final approach. So then you are like almost like truly achieving towards the goal. And the moment that like number seven, this result final applications. So that is the time like you are like liberating like from all kind of afflictions, and then that is the time that you truly achieve the actual concentration ground. So only by going through the final result, the applications that you are like normally we call the overcoming all the afflictions, and then achieving the first actual concentration ground.
team다. 들라 타면은 되발 샤바 체니 무실을 쉬고 뒤지. 이제 줍자이나 세다다 이제 뉴샤서 이제 뉴이나 다디 좋았다 뉴이시야디 에네티 줍자르 디스 카르스 나서 벤다 데레 에 강바 양게 되는다 강바디 줍자들어 어디 쯧제 다디 강바디 제 사도 도도 자데 에네 강바 양게도 거기 튀기고 디게데 데레로 줍시레로 요디 줍자세 ngama chuni drupshi yin no se ngama chudi ta tsinsu rigwa ije ne eni Jota Ishibadi T to what it was the Topsy tapped his that duties and the taps and Jiwara. He knows that. But the quota charged of Karasana and the well don't say any Cassandra Tambo Yonde Yoshi, that is Sunday Tambo told Sunny. Could we tell a man anytime they easy to get you to Gumus and that you must do not took the taps yet. That the body Munesa could me drift that trouble, Nickel, Charlie said, you know, get this da baby ton gumne. You move on, Mission, the tender. She take it, tell funny, tea, tongue on the Newman point, tell long day, the back of the Newman, you simple mergence, and the one Chagris is the Chagris is the Dujac is a shade. Toma Newman, she take with the bond, anything you move on your point, tell a long day, the back of Newman. When you are here upon just control the truck door, the David is a rubber gangabang, the David is a gangabang. Pound the China and the other chapter to us is like the carriers. Control the truck door, the Sheda gangabang, where they will go pounders. The world the sharp button tell us she will hear soon be soon the judge you will go in, spoon, that's all the Carson. That Dungin you go Mamma did I Mancha de Dejac, that was contact. Gonzas that Najisha had the contrast had the Jones Shingo River, and the Tautos had the Shingo Gire. Or Demo the children, Dejac John the Hiraku, she that got Jones Dang Hira, you radio. She that when a transaction picket Dungin Janki Zoo in Dejac in Siwata. Deja the end big same than dream. So the cat she would couple you see or this or kind. Deja the car say, real no should go in Sida. Real no should that should the chill use the cat and do the most part than draw your mara. That quarter the chatos of the day, real due was. Real due couple tell her you go and could the canny gomer, quite after she called part hard over. She said, so coin and you so that the Muganga Tengi so the Carson in Suda to Rijanga Chewe, what in Doyon of Shakwa in Sewa. What is it?
Relanum chap was in Ducha, the Relanum Chabanasi.
Ah,
Relanum chapa, Ducha.
reason real. There no shoes on.
Oh, that's
And the columns that does not dry your mara. Could you teach your children? That tell her to go to the Pungi, and the Kanga Jago, what those doves in the very head over.
that's
What did you Ponkalu? Yes, you are this way.
So the seventh one, the attentions of the result of final applications is our main goal to achieve, because the result of the final attention when we achieve, then we can be able to achieve the first concentration ground, and the rest of the other the six is just like a conditions to who help assist to achieve the result. So it's a causes and conditions. So the first six are the causes, and then conditions and all conditions, and the seventh one is the main result. So that's why it's like when you are building the house, the main result is the main house, but all the other tools are all the other conditions. So that's why in this attention also to achieve and the insight that the rest of the six are all conditioned to who help assist achieving the seven, the final and the result of final applications. And also in these, of course, that to achieve the first concentration ground also, it's not like just you're merely achieving, you know the true value and the quality of that realization, which help us to eliminate all the afflictions of the worldly and trans-worldly. So that's why the achieving the seventh, the result of final application is important. And now, in the right now, why most of us are involved ignorantly in the cycle of samsara is because in our in because of our, of course, the desire or anger or hatred or jealousy, and so these are the all kind of mental afflictions. So out of this so many different kind of mental afflictions, out of this the most deadliest is the desire, because desire is the main one who is like kind of like hard to distinguish, because most of us, we don't discard desire. We always feel that desire is something helpful or beneficial, so that's why it always try to hide. And it's sometimes it's even considered as like a desire is like a oil on the cloth. If there's a oil on the cloth, you can't, it's hard to clean, it's hard to see, and it's blend with the clothes. So it's like a desire is like an oil on the cloth, so hard to see and then to take it out. But the rest is, you can see anger as something that's not good, or jealousy. These are like easily visible and then distinguish easily. But the desire is hard to distinguish and then to overcome. So that's why sometimes the anger is sometimes it's called like a dust in your clothes. So it's, you can just, like easily can get it out from the clothes. It's like a dust. So that's why most important right now, why they're explaining, emphasizing is, in order to achieve those things, you have to focus mostly on the desire, which is the hardest thing to overcome. And then most of us, we are mistakenly holding this one as something important.
What is your that did Dordun the garrison, Debe John, Debe John, something taboos, you this and change a model, so the river, sing so repay, never temper, your young. Moon the Hine, trouble man, John the John Sheva Sheddon, Comba Chevale, and a digger, ya, how don't want to Yammer, and Hine moon to Madonna, newborn la. Young Hini took your social repeat of Majina, young Pontomer, Conjita, Hila Ninga Goya, you didn't hear it. What the goris, what the Dordon da Conje, Deval Jonda, Sunday double Yondeta Goya. That today I never Jeremy, you move citizen in the chair, you move on out Yengelia in some year Gaga doesn't under the Chihuahua. 당보 예도 제 이시 당보 디샤 근데 이시 뒤고 가지 이시 뒤고는 뽕야 찍고 지간데 생수를 봐 이제네 이게 좋아타이 드위지 버리 건가 뽕다 찍고 지간을 시네 다스 다들 네베 니모 뽕알라 삼대 당보 셈고도 다 삼대 당보 니모 뽕알라 삼대 이베 셈고고 제가 고모 고메셈을 마도 소소 셈고데 고메셈이 빵토 말아 어떤 도던 다다 네베 도뇨 뽕바 찍고 इन जिगदे में लाम की दोया दिले या इन सिद्ध पद यारो तो ओरिस ता सिद्धे निमो पा तिला किता जिगदे में लाम शे में ता सिद्धे निमो दे ता जिगदे दे लाम की पा मगी से जिगदे में लाम की पा तो मारवा दे पद दोते या तेरेस से तो देसे ओरे करसा ओमो में निमो पा लो कोमो कोमे सेंजी पा ओरो ते देबे निमो पा ला इन संदे ताबो सेम गोदो ओते ना की Chiami Yupon, citizen guru, the body in the bond of the dictator, but you can race. Easy, do you know what you got point at the race?
So, in brief, that always has to find the faults of desire realm, and then always look and then find the good quality of the concentration ground, or the first concentration ground or higher. So with these, then in order to find these qualities of good, false and good qualities of this desire realm and the concentration ground, only with the help of practicing properly on the serenity and insight that can be able to achieve that. And so now in order to achieve, for even for example, if you want to achieve the first concentration ground, then overcome, if you want to overcome the all the afflictions of the desire realm without achieving the first concentration ground, there is no way to overcome the afflictions of the desire realm. So now if you want to overcome the afflictions of the first concentration ground, then you have to achieve the second. So that's why like it needs it's a mental process through this concentration ground. So you cannot just go jump straight away. So you have to go that step way. If you want to overcome and the afflictions of the desire realm, then has to achieve the first concentration ground. If you want to overcome the afflictions of the first concentration ground, then you have to achieve the second, then third, and so on. So that's why like this. The nine mental level of the serenity is taught accordingly to step into it, and then with the help of this seven attention that how that to go through step by step to achieve this. So and and so that's why like with the to achieve to the peak of existence, only with the help of this the looking at the false and the qualities of the desire realm and then concentration ground, then you process through and then going through these and the first concentration, second, third, and then we'll be able to achieve the peak of existence. Otherwise, without going through that, you cannot be able to achieve the peak of existence.
dire konje konje nyumo pa la ngunjo bang wi na da sawon jo bang wi na de ya hila ninga go res kon bang go yin zi de nyumo pa tam bu tam ji ge na ba sha ba was wo de nyumo ngunjo bang wi na da sawon jo bang wi de kan de bang wi na de ya hila ninga sung ri shin de bang go ya de de res nyumo pa tam ji na ba sha ba ji ji bang go me ji 이 hila karun riri kanya pantago mariyas. Te tatna sa kungo ki kyunyo soso jewe sengi radu rikpe ribade ringa karsa tueba da ringa samsung da juwa so tosun rima chawo. Di koran di nega kuru sengi su rikpa yisya di kanda jire debe sem riba, kome sem riba, ngushi riba, nyerdo riba, debe zeju riba shiyun sigo. Del karsa desi ware. Del ya tuzum ganga yore so. Sensu riba yise da deba jonta ini kamko samde taboli ya yode ta gomun dizan tambo tuzum gom. Ini gom yangzo chango de gomjung reya yorba. Sheda del dia in tuzu gozo ganga yore so. Renga samba shojo. Choba rema tuzum rema yise ware. Sensu riba yise de. 다 대다 콤베세 토솜는 데니 곰베 남비 타지기 히라기 돈들 뭐바셔네 뭐바이르셔바 알리 소이 이제도 다 학동도 다 리베제바 시도지 센스 리바이제 곰겐데 다코 곰 가르쳐서는 이 뭐바이제세야 토서나 엔디서 단다 상대 당고 karsa di nyedo debe lakdong to woro o lakdong to woro shido tesgo lakdong to woro is karsa teserwa karsa ilshewa ushewa der shoma yishi to der nyensale tseni tsemma meba tenyela megne shine da 사고 고바시도 해서 이시 쪽 가서 그냥 hil라 고바숨라 이시 담보 가서 돈을 써봐 시 쪽을 매바 돈서 同的时候其实同的意的，可是苏州主力什么这个的，搞学的样，劳动的连蒙古的送别噻，那没有打过嘛绵阳，劳动就明给老师，但这里呢，没把一些引起的刚刚，那劳动人是他，但是这一次如果一些劳动套用了话，那没把一些人透过了话是没把一些中国的刚刚，劳动人是我的感觉，劳动人能教育嘛这些。因为劳动是咱们到过嘛的，因这点嘛，啷个点劳动头也要认识这些。现在以前的那些告诉希腊人出国呢，你们不往一边噻，不往一边，第一工资呢，你希腊说是去同地你了，养的这边劳动工吧赢了，养这边他希腊一同的了，再就的叫吧呢，现在光包我，这那工比以前你吧。당번에 수인지 미년보 다 되거든 되래 곰지살에 당와야 에 제와시는 곰 제와시 제도도 딱딱 sem 딱딱 레스는 조금시는 곰양 조금시도 양 제와시는 곰 제조 배마시는 곰야들 곰고리스 왔다 곰고리스 다들 먼저 제조 배마 곰시도와 기타 형강가리가 되래 곰보 대단한 곰보 이를 시바 니바 정부 수인지 비년보 왔다 되래 수인지 비년보 선생 동용 봉용 고주야 저 수인지 봐서 왔다
So to to overcome the manifest afflictions or the actual afflictions, the main afflictions, it's a must and necessary to practice the union of serenity and insight. Without having this the practice on the serenity and insight, that there's no way to overcome even the manifest afflictions. About instead, you forget about or rooting out the root of afflictions. So that's why, like. So therefore, as a beginner, like when we are engaging into practicing this serenity and insight, of course, firstly we have to try to listen the teachings as many as we can. After listening the teaching, then contemplate their meaning as many as we can, and then meaning that you achieve through, then you meditate as deep as you can. So with these process, then you are eventually entering into this like 9 level of this serenity, and then together with you are going through the 7 different kind of attentions. So on this the what you call when you practice, it's like you are mixing like a lotus mudra, or like you mixing together. Sometimes you analyze the object of meditations, and then you practice inside. Sometimes you sit down and do single pointed meditation, and then practice serenity. You mix together one after another, mixing together and practice. So after that is the first attention, which is the discernment of a characteristic, the attention on the discernment of characteristic. So then from then onwards, the second day, which is from arisal from belief, and third isolations, delight or withdrawal, analysis, final applications, and this result of final applications. So at that time that one has achieved the insight already. And right now, even though this from second attention onwards, that the practitioner who has already achieved insight not necessarily means that they have understood this selflessness of the person and then achieved, that means with the understanding of the worldly mundane also they can achieve that. So that's why it's not necessary that you have to achieve the selflessness, because they have achieved insight from the second the attention, the arisal from belief onwards. So they have achieved insight but not really achieved the selflessness. And then and and the what do you call now? I can't even read my own writing now. And so that's why like serenity and those are like they always mix together, and then to meditate. And right now, as like as they says that when at the beginning they have to use this like as a like sensory the object of desire or those things, and then you see and check, because sometimes like there's like misunderstand that. So that's why like you have to check on the sensory object and desire and how to overcome that. So on, then after that you really bring back into inside and then achieve the inside serenity and insight. So in overall, like in without so this one the like when you are really checking through, you are using like as an antidote. Firstly, when you are using as an antidote to, as let's say, all these negative afflictions are like a kind of like a what do you call the false. It's like it's not a false of in the that leads to unfortunate rebirth. So you are trying to make this one as an antidote to, as a false of all the afflictions. Or so that's how that you've been to apply that. So want to stop here if your question.
Well, it was stated that during the first attention we alternate serenity and insight, right? But here there is no mention in the book about of cultivating serenity during the first attention. It's only study and reflection.
Study and reflection.
No serenity, no meditation.
The kind of discernment of characteristic.
Yes. There's no meditation during that state.
Okay, no meditation.
No meditation. Yeah.
Tanda di tsenyisoso kasa ilaje basing di la gomjayo marasa di tsenyisoso iji din yorwa dambo la di la gomjayo marasa tsenyisoso.
gomja cheta yudesan gomja cheta iji meji ya deche gomares. ane dengen zi keja tema gomja zi ganse samata yudesamata ganse gomja zi gorda. Deba chong de ya ene komal yongde dire do. 다 영양에서 답이 공화 통도 흉셔로 대바도 야 용도 흉셔로 돌아. 라스. 야도 그 공장의 shum으로. 라스. 그 이제 사람마다는 제가 내외 정도 그 연대 사람마다는 그 이무이도 더야 용으로. 라스. 어디 공장의 흉가는 그 힘을 하고도. 라스.
Yes, you need to have meditation, because even this the seven attention, the first, the discernment of characteristic, you have to see the quality of the higher rebirth and then the faults of unfortunate rebirth and lower. And then without contemplating, meditation doesn't mean like you are single-pointedly concentrating. You are meditating on that and understanding thoroughly about that. So only when you understand thoroughly through the meditation, then you finally see the true quality of the higher rebirth and all the faults of unfortunate rebirths. So otherwise, just sitting like that won't understand.
Okay, I understand that, but I think that the statement was that you cultivate serenity specifically. Yeah, serenity. Serenity means single-point meditation. I understand that there has to be a reflection, it's analytical meditation and whatnot, but not serenity. That's my point.
Ale danda didi shine gome maros shine.
신의 검사는 신의劳动공연 거주를 지금 생이도 리베이 세디劳动공연 거주고
because
뒤에는 신의 도를 해.
because this one as when we enter into seven attention, serenity is already passed through. It's a foundation, already built the foundation. So now you are stepping into the inside. So it's already like build up the foundation.
Okay, but then during the second attention, you alternate serenity and insight during the second attention. Specifically, it's stated there. And Geshe explained how you alternate attention, but not during the first attention.
Okay, yeah.
So there's even though serenity is already built in, of course, but nevertheless, the point is that you don't cultivate it, you don't arise it again. It's not part of the first attention, or is it? It's definitely stated as being part of the second attention, right?
그거는 다 이발라 간서는 시내다 하도 냠도 전에 배마 고매에 서로 와다디 kok견도데 어디다 담볼라 실 하통 곰 이발라 시내다 하도 니가 고매지데 도아데 어디기 인사르게
가데세.
다 이제 뒤에 이제 니 담볼라다 코 친소서 리바일라 제바로와 아니 니바디 아니 가사 데 가사 다디 the Gawada Duba sing the Deva Gadi.
그래서 데레다 마마도 무지야 데데 라디에바이데 겨우로. 그 세서 바이스야 데르시 다데 페나 나도 마도 제 락자도 세고다. 니모 보야 그러와. 근데 뭐네 근데 다데 뭐바이스야 데가 락자를 차동도 라베게 해라. 다때 라는다 증기는 증야여라. 어디 증야데 증 토야데 당보데 있는 라디 엠바이시 시도와. 어디 티티디셔다 라디 엠바이시야데.
니바디 가사데
라디 엠바이시야데
니바디 가사데 데바 메바 이제 데바 데 다와다 데바 신서라 다와 데바 신이지.
아니 때때 가 디바이 가와세야 되지. 라디에 가 디바이 다당에 더보데 라디 엠바이시야 녀도. 티니바들 니모포 랭구 님보들 가 디바이시.
메발레 중화 이지디라.
메발소 이세야 되서 다도 사고 토마 통견들이 세바. 디디 뭐 안정요 말이지.
어딜레 시내 공고는 시내기
시내
길시.
탑사네 시내 때마다 다데 시스 디바이시 구매하 이거는 펜토 뭘 라자서. 가제 곰데나 애니 시내 타동조가 요 말이 라사로와. 시내 드롭 산다다 이제 디세야 되가 시내 드롭 산도 구매하래 뭐 시내 뭐로 그거는 펜토 말.
Actually, here even the second one, the arisal and belief, the second attention, also like the first, the discernment of characteristic is about like you are trying to, if you want to wage a war, then you need tools and weapons and guns. You're collecting all these things. So once you achieve, then you can have war, like with all the afflictions. So that's why, so all this actually already gone through this serenity. Like these are all the, and then the moment we are on the arisal and believe that you are actually achieving the insight.
기존 예 드라사 지 해다 당고서 더부 신의 드라서 신의 드라는 가르치기로 쓰는 신의 드라서 레가를 가르치기로 인 다음에 텔파니야 타바트니 샤드 랑가지 두어레스 근데 다음에 가이 먹어서 인 히라 나바진 지데 남 두디니 요레스 타티는 데리디 히야 다다 지데 람 두디 히고 말 히라 투모 람 두디 지데 치료받을 투모디 히라 구매하죠라 어디 히고라 히야데 어디 히고 다다 치료받다 다 남바지 카가 제자로 쓰는다 그게 탈바드에서 메세 데베 등에도 이 중국이 들어서 가는 것을 쓰는 인생스 리바이스 되는 것으로다.
The 남바다 the
남바다요. 치료가 더 치료버리다.
Here, like as I think Geshe mentioned that he might have explained earlier that uh, in order to practice serenity and insight, there are like practitioners who they, as a, like they put the foundation, the selflessness as a foundation to practice serenity and insight, and some just put the practice foundation as calmness and closeness, and then on based on that they practice serenity and insight. So right now, like this is the like in general, like they're trying to practice with this, and then so even though like they have to go through the is a true Buddhist practitioner, non-Buddhist practitioner, but prior to that has to achieve serenity, and then finally you when you step into the discernment and characteristic, that time like you are truly engaging into to achieve the insight, focus more on insight. So that's why like even though there are non-Buddhists and Buddhists who are on that analytical meditation on the discernment characteristic, but mostly focus on insight.
About about the it was translated the Lotsawa translated as desire, something that usually is translated as attachment. Is there a difference in those terms in Tibetan, and would attachment be more appropriate to what Geshe explained?
Yeah, the English term is always like hard to distinguish. Tanda the Injila tanda gasa chakpa seginchi da ane deba senji insaro. Deba dan chakpa ni kebar kari nasi tu.
then deva the shabani page rawo deva 쓰는 것도 제가 누구도 제가 들어 탈바 누구도 deva 누구도 제가 들어 다 내자 때 거기 페이지 라워도 왜다 됐어 다 지금 그심 힘이 케여서 그래 deva 직보이나 배는 다 들어서 저 답변은 데스고로 배는 다 되게 소그라셔야 되는 건데 대화기야 돼 대화도 야보도 세요 여기 진짜 슈 표현다 되게 해니요 가보셔야 되지 영한테 대화시야 니요 그 인다고다고 할때 심 힘이 되지 거기 그게 때 쳐봐야라고 다 거기
Nasna.
근데 모두 더워요 치료도 닝제도 늦어 있어요 왔어요 모두 가요 말이야
Chakpadidan.
아.
Chakpadi.
그래
Chakpasin debada chakpadi.
착받아 넣어봤어야 돼 넣어요 이제
Nas. Okay. So the desire and attachment, there's a subtle difference in between, because you can call that I have a desire to achieve liberation, but not I think attachment on that. And then normally like we can call like a desire from because of form or sensory like feelings or sound or those things, taste those things also like have a desire, something like that also. And then and also like I think pretty much like that. So that's why there's a subtle difference in this, in desire and attachment. Yeah.
Could it be said that the reason we desire sensory objects is because we have attachment to them, and which means that attachment will precede the desire?
Attachment will
Precede the
Okay.
desire. It's the cause of desire. We desire sensory objects because we
Okay,
have
yeah.
attachment to them.
Yeah. 어디 차바디는 되발 때는 깨리 배사.
그래 착받으면 넣어봤어야 돼다 처음부터 집어로 착받으면 넣어봤으면 콜 심지 뭐 봐야 봤어요 됐다 넣어봐 강가 되려서는 말이야 먼저 배는 아니 타반되고 요새니 대화되고 요새 되지는 가가지고 가라 진짜 잡아도 했다
It is kind of like a slightest difference because, of course, yes, you're right, because from the desire, the attachment is arise, but not necessarily every desire is an attachment. like you wish to achieve to liberation, those things. So there are certain differences. It's some kind of there's some intentions there involved there.
Thank you for your amazing teaching, Geshe. As always, I always rejoice with my merit when I listen to Geshe teaching and oral transmission. Thank you so much for that. And my question is, when Geshe talking about apply for non-Buddhist and Buddhist, we have to when we practice samatha, serenity, we have to go through 9 levels. But exceptional for the Tantra, we don't have to go through to 9 level. And I would like to know why Tantric practitioners have that kind of privilege. So please explain.
당고 뭐라 투지 체사데 베 숭치드네 사모나 들라베 투지 체사 숭치드네 사모에 베 나들 투지 체사 안에 뭐랑기 디워데네 단다 나서 데라 가사 신의 고메알라네 아니 낭바도 치를 버니가기 고메요레 아니 데네 딜라데 가사데 셈네 굴라테네 아니 신의 공고르시 데네 낭바 치바 니바 직바 임바치라 이네 믹스기 데 상하기 촐라 아니 디 도마고체 믹스기 데 테고데 가르켜버리 나시기도
너 데데다 상하고 데스고와 신행을 좀 거기서고와
that ganina sangala the mixage yoroko
지도는 다 도저지는 실라니는 신행을 좀 신이라고 좋다고 그래서 저러 다 상하라면서 상하 강가 말이야
lasla
상하라면 로래야 실라 지저 터서야지 유사로 이게 저 배선 지어서 가지 요래 야
actually this one as in especially in the highest yoga tantra that there is an exception that the practitioner one can be able to achieve the serenity and insight all together in one time. So there's, even though Geshe haven't read the book, but there is the book that explains that in highest yoga tantra practice, the serenity and insight can be achieved in one time, at one same time. Because otherwise, in other non-Buddhist or below the tantra, then before achieving serenity without achieving without practicing serenity, there's no way to achieve insight. So that's why that 9 levels is explained. But in tantra, highest yoga tantra, that both can be achieved in the same time.
Definitely. Ani dikar lamrim na lam ngundu ko la chi min do ngundu de Geshe le ngundu
Ngondo tan ba gen lamrim la
ngondo sena da lamrim de ngondo sena ja mara ngondo sena tere da ali tik chewa nyen joa de yoje henda nyen do de ma do na in ko sia men ge do tila ngondo se mare lamrim ko to ko ne de mine higo da tejo ni ga ni higo ro wa 지금 너는 고쪽 살아. 다 띵인 공도 쓰미세 요마로. 공도 쓰디도 빼는 건도 듣고 거다. 상하를 되게 엉슈하라. 모두 가르쳐서 애는 연주장도 연다도 제 저 고르서 저분이 쉬어요 말라고 와. 다 너는 저도 도저 너는 되게 가야 말. 실수를 했네. 거기 알이 저라 지시해 버렸지. 알이 공도도 상하에서 계속 뭐 대저 통진이가 시에서는 되고 알아. 문도스 무슨 거 말해. 나는 문도. 이것을 꼭 가서 레라시드니 시고로 레라시드 시게 그건 저거야 가야 말아.
아니 디시네 다든데 고 간다 디시네 고메 콜라 Geshe 아니 딩이야 ngundu 든저
아니 시네 고메는 문도 거래야. 문도 거라.
아니 람림 나라인데 칼라라 디 믹세 람림 페이지 나라인데 응은도 가지 믹세
Mundu da de karsa tirwa gobe ne da ene gobe ne gal ene karsa tir ne yi cheba da ene samo kun namdo mo le chong da sha nywa da du ju sho he da inde mo de kisi do sa ma le hin na ya jo hin ngi de go.
Okay, her question is in this Lamrim teaching, they never explain about the preliminary practice for common practitioner. So why is that? And so that's why, like Geshe is trying to explain that in Lamrim it starts from the preciousness of a human being and how rare and how good opportunity we have. From there we go through, and then but if you even in general also, like when you are practicing tantra also, without having the preliminary practice about like renunciations or like and the bodhicitta or those things, without having those kind of motivations, there's no way to practice, even though it's not directly given or taught, but you must have that prior to engaging into any practice. And then so that's why like the like in order to practice, if you are actual practitioner, you must have the preliminary practice, how to start. And then the second question was about, then in the right now we are covering on the serenity and insight, and do we really need this preliminary practice to start? And then Geshe say, yes, we do have to need that. And then as in these, those all the preliminary practice are like the 6 different kind of thing. In order to practice shamatha, you have to isolate, less work, no worldly things, all the stuff like that. So those are the preparation that in order to the practice. So and then prior to it is like in order to practice main is you have to always try to see the faults of unfortunate rebirth and how opportunity we have, and then how to renounce it and how to achieve liberations of bodhicitta and achieve practice bodhicitta. So these are also needed in order to practice together. Did a question? Did a? Okay. That's answer. So next week is we are going to do cleaning, little bit of cleaning. If you come, it's okay because we have already done most of the cleaning. So just no teaching because we had to prepare lots of things. So that's all. Gangye lo de nye tende nye da nam da rab ze we je nye dengen je je ze che nye ke to ga le bam kanda ze we tsen ra ma re min dom do nye ge ze ro zo gen lam bu je da ze yang la zhu je yang den zhu tra che zhu nye mo nye lo le ge cha zhu zhe ze che ma re min se dong ye nye Jinye che ze re de nam de ne da che sa che tar se yun de le zo ge ze tu ye ko chu cha chu dan chu ni gen da le min zel jam be yang la e de o maro ba za maro ba za maro ba za maro o maro ba za na di 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 de ze de ke ge ken ra we ze ge da le de mo men ba rap se Kada denje shun lo topa ye lo je po be na wa zendo se page 31 lo de ja so i ton pe ga de ke san pon be chu do min ze Tenpo tsen la wang tu ki chu be ta nyen chu gen cha la se wan de page 21 Obeisant to my Guru Majeshri, who holds at his heart a scripture text symbolic of his seeing all things as they are, whose intelligence shine forth as the sun, unclouded by delusions or trace of ignorance, who teaches in 60 ways with the loving compassion of Father for his only Son, all creatures caught in the prisons of samsara, confused in the darkness of their ignorance, overwhelmed by their suffering, you whose thunder dragon-like proclamations of Dharma arouses us from the stupor of our delusions and free us from the iron chain of our karma, who yields the sword of wisdom, hewing down suffering wherever its sprouts appears, clearing away the darkness of ignorance, who have impure the beginning, who have completed the stages, achieving highest perfections of Bodhisattva, who princely body is adorned with the 112 marks of a Buddha, I bow down to you, Manjushri. Om Arapatanadi, O compassionate one, with the brilliance of your wisdom, illuminate the darkness, influencing my mind, enlighten intelligence and wisdom so that I may gain insight into Buddha's words and the texts that explain them. Page 31. Like the sweet perfume of white lotus born in the ocean of knowledge, nourishing honeybees, the fortunate beings, your fame pervades all directions. You are proficient and powerful in upholding the precious doctrine. To you, O Losang Tenzin Wanda, respectfully I pray.
Nhất tâm kính lễ Đức Văn Thù Sư Lợi, bậc đại trí, Ngài điều phục hai chướng ngại, tự nhật quan lan tỏa khắp mười phương, bậc thực chứng chân nghĩa màu rốt ráo, từ tiên Ngài Bát Nhã Kinh thủ hộ nhiệm màu, cõi luân hồi chúng sanh thọ nghiệp báo, bị ngăn che bởi phiền não vô minh. Cùng đại bi Ngài hóa độ chúng sanh, tự từ mẫu chăm lo cho quý tử, tiếng rồng vang Ngài thức tỉnh hữu tình, thoát khỏi vòng luân hồi nghiệp báo, gồm trí tuệ Ngài chặt đứt vô minh, tận diệt muôn vàn khổ đau cùng ách nạn, trường tử Như Lai tối thắng toàn giác, Ngài an trụ nơi thập địa pháp vân, báu thân Ngài trang nghiêm thanh tịnh, 112 tướng hảo Như Lai. Cúi xin Ngài tận diệt ám chướng vô minh. Om Arapasanati. Con khẩn cầu dưới gót sen bậc đại trí, ban pháp lực diệt phiền não vô minh, được trí sáng con thâm nhập nghĩa màu, pháp vi diệu cùng muôn vàn luận giải, như diệu hương ngọt ngào từ sen trắng, đàn xanh nơi trí thủ thắng đại dương, hàng thiện căn như ong mật thọ nương, hồng danh Ngài khắp mười phương quảng bá, đấng thiện xảo uy dũng bảo tồn pháp bảo vô giá. Nam mô Lobsang Tenzin Wangdak. Xin cung kính trì niệm.
Gewa de nyuro do da la ma sai je Rinpoche ma ke panam ke jiroiche ke wa nyamba me ba yang gone gondo pe warai sho toni ta wa Rinpoche ma ke panam ke jiroiche ke wa nyamba me ba yang gone gondo pe warai sho sa je be je jon je me to tam re ra lin je nyin de gen ba de
Sanje shindo mide yuwayi Chogen namda shin la che bara sho gare rawe korwe shingamde Pendan dewa mauli junwe ne aye chere zenwa tenzen jatso ye shabe sede bardo Denjuro ichi yedaim guru redna mendel kaner yata ya eme